And we are live. Hey everybody, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchy's Ted, and today I'm joined by
Nathan Nerdarch.
We are Sans Dave, we are Sans Kyle. So we got the the magical mini device in Nate's hand to hopefully be able to respond to any of your questions, comments, concerns, whatever have yous. And it looks like this is going to be a repeatable pattern for next week as well, as Dave will be at AtCon then and not here. So if you happen to be in the Boston area and you want to go to a convention, hang out with Nerdarchy's Dave, that's going to be a way to do it. So what do we have going on?
People saying hi.
People saying hi.
And saying that they're quasi here.
They're quasi here. Okay, I got worried. I thought you were saying they could quasi hear us. And I'm like, oh no! Do we have sound? Is it transferring? So thank you guys for hanging out with us on this Saturday afternoon. As those of you who wound up tuning into us yesterday, I am sadly RPG-less this weekend. Dave canceled the Ether Skies game yesterday, but we're hoping that happens again next week. But I don't know at this point what his travel plans are going to be for AtCon, so I'll have to confer with him to know whether Ether Skies is on for next week.
Well, it's a 6-hour trip to Boston, driving from where we are.
Right, so I don't know whether he's planning to do that Friday and then be there all of Saturday, or whether he's just going to get up early and plan to be there by like noon or something.
I would go leave Friday if it was up to me.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know what Dave's plans are, and he's not here to confirm. He's apparently off gallivanting at the shore, shucking off that Nerdarchy work. Like, Ted and Nate can handle it.
Well, I actually said that we could handle it.
Well, we clearly
said, I got to be at this place. Like, sure, no problem.
He's got family stuff going on, and
which is good to have.
It absolutely is, and we're more than up to the task to step in and take the reins and do this stuff. It's just kind of weird.
Truemate says that I find your lack of RPG disturbing.
Sadly, well, there's been stuff going on, and we don't game every single week, and because of some stuff that sadly I'm not going to get into, we are currently on a hiatus with our third game, the non-D&D game, so that will be back on track at some point in time, and we will be getting into the Star Wars game, but no Ether Skies yesterday, no actual Nerdarchy game tonight.
And no Griffin Gaff until next week.
Yes. My game will be running next week again without Dave. Keep shirking my games.
I miss that dwarf. I'm going to miss a lot of the characters. There's half the characters missing.
He's got a subplot that I've been trying to initiate, and the last, this session last and next week's session, he wasn't in for. So I can't get into it.
Just pull an old gaming group thing where it's like, well, you weren't here, so I just made it up.
I could, but I don't want to make that character choice for you.
All rumors. You're like, we thought you were dead, Ulfgar. Uthengar. Who's Ulfgar? Somebody's Ulfgar. That's so dwarfish. They all look the same. Anyway. High elfin perspective here.
Typical elfin.
Yeah. So yeah, Uthengar. That's right.
Yes.
Good master dwarf, as I like to call him. He's not going to be there.
Right.
So if he supposedly dies, it could be like, well, the rumors of my death have been over-exaggerated.
So Dave is probably not watching this, so I'll actually sneak a little bit of what's going on. As you guys probably are well aware, we don't actually do romance at the gaming table. Doing that guy on guy for us, it's kind of a little awkward, especially since he married my sister. But he mentioned that from the beginning that he's interested as a character goal to learn different types of magic and to report back to his clan. Well,
he has that really cool.
There's the
tattooist,
the dwarven chick, and I don't have my notes here, but she has tattoo magic
from the Underdark.
Yes,
really cool.
So he's kind of been subtly putting hints into the game that he's been kind of sort of courting her. So I put it out there like, all right, well, she's going to pretty much do the dwarven thing of like, all right, nothing's been officially said here or started, but I'm a long way from home. So we either got to get this official courtship started, or I'm going back to Nerdarchy. So that's what's going to wind up happening. And
stop her before she gets on the plane.
I figured, dwarves are, blunt and brutally honest, and she's not with her people. And there's kind of been talk, but nothing that's been solidified. There's no contract.
Yeah, there's nothing binding them. There's not even like a possible thing.
Right.
So how about we flip it a little bit from like, normal, like, European medieval time kind of thing, which is what D&D is kind of draws from a lot. Mm-hmm. And we say that the Durgar, because she's a dark dwarf.
No, she's regular.
She's just underneath.
Yeah.
So she's kind of like,
she's a mountain dwarf, but mountain dwarves live underground as well.
The down under mountain dwarves. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So let's say the culture's a bit different, and maybe it's seen as whoever feels like it can initiate a courtship. So maybe she writes a.
Well, no, he's going to actually have to do. He's going to have to do challenges.
Okay, challenges. All right.
So like he's going to have to. I've got some notes of what I've already started, but like he's going to have to do something to prove his valor and do some kind of combat.
Okay, kind of like an impress me.
Yes.
All right.
Like he's going to have to do something where he's got to create something, and then here's the real thing: is they're going to fight each other.
Oh, all right. Interesting.
So it's gonna be fun, and it's just kind of gonna be like if he agrees, it's supposed to be all right. Every session we do this one little thing and see how this winds up proceeding along, and then at some point in time, I guess they get married.
That's a good point, Trimmate. Dwarves live far longer. How long could the courting period be?
It could be a long time,
like a decade. Pretty short courtship, right?
Well, I mean, once things are solidified, that would get brought up in the actual contract, and like that's the mindset that she has. It's gonna legitimately be like to start courtship. It will be a contract.
Oh, okay. Happy Canada Day, DM Steve.
Yep. So we got some things to get into and talk about. We have a giveaway to do later on today. We have a game announcement to make for July. Pardon me. It is the first week of July, so therefore we have to announce our fan game. This month it's going to be with Dave. So I'll read off the list at some point in time, and we got something to kind of show off. So we'll spread that throughout the whole broadcast here.
Did we mention Patreon awards last one? Or did we forget?
I don't know.
All right. Well, it's already started, so it's the first of the month, so it doesn't matter.
The Patreon rewards will be going out, within the next week or so. We typically wait for all payments to be cleared. If you have not jumped on board yet, there is still a chance, I believe. We'll see what winds up transpiring, but you probably got to get in today because Patreon likes to charge on the 1st. So I don't know what time of day that's going to be.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, every month we do different rewards based on the level that you choose, and it's like second through $2 through like to $10. Get you different magic items, adventures.
Yeah, we have Mage Forge. Every month we create a magic item that we can be able to give out to you guys. Give a full write-up, full stat block, the whole nine. That's the $2 level. The $3 level is the monster.
I believe so.
Then we have Friend or Foe, where we create an NPC that you could be able to use as an adversary or as a person to communicate with in town. Again, it's a full stat block, a full write-up to be able to use. Then we have our Terrible Terrain. We give you a map and a ready-made encounter to be able to throw into that area, set to do whatever you want with. And then our catch-all at 10 is our Lost Lore. It could be anything from a more powerful magic item, some kind of table to roll on. We've done several class archetypes
spells.
We've done all kinds of really cool stuff in there. We're always willing to take a look at any kind of feedback you have for what you like, what you didn't like, as well as any kind of suggestions that you'd like to see in any future Patreon awards. But those typically go out, 5th through the 9th, depending upon when payments clear, when everything has been completely finalized and made to look all kinds of awesome and pretty for you guys. Anything going on in the chat?
Not at this moment. I'm making sure that the chat works properly. Having microcomputer issues.
My right.
Phone, the doom seed is blooming in my phone.
All right, so then I will go to our first thing to off the side. Doing stuff with Pathfinder, they've apparently said we're awesome and we're in their good graces. So they have sent us the Pathfinder role-playing games adventure guide, and it looks to be a book all on new classes, prestige classes for Pathfinder RPG. So if you happen to be a Pathfinder fan and a patron at some point in time, this will be one of our giveaways. It's got some pretty awesome art. The thing on the back says details on 18 different organizations that use adventurers to further their goals, including the law-enforcing Hell Knights, the sinister assassins of the Red Mantis, and of course the world-renowned Pathfinder Society itself. A wealth of new player options, feats, spells, magic items, prestige classes, archetypes, and new abilities and powers for a wide range of classes. Blah, 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 lots of stuff. Retails for $39.99. It will be added into our pile of giveaways. Art's cool. Fluff is pretty neat from what I did on my flip through. So that is in the pile. Let us know if you guys are Pathfinder people and whether you've checked out that book, whether you want that book, whether you've got that book. I don't know what's out yet.
And are we going to do a flip through of the stuff that they send us?
Like a don't know yet.
Oh, well, maybe we will. We'll talk with Dave about it. We'll figure it out.
While we don't have an official hierarchy here, Dave usually makes those kind of the decisions as to whether this should be a good flip through or not. I know a lot of you guys out there are hardcore 5e fans and don't know whether you'd appreciate a flip through of that. So let us know one way or another.
Shop smart, shop nerd mart. It's from Silver Sided Squirrel.
Nice. So, what do you want to talk about today, Nate?
Why you gotta put me on the spot?
Because that's what I'm here for.
I want to really know. I'm interested to know exactly how many people are interested in Nerdcraft coming back. Because I know every once in a while we'll get hey, can we get some Nerdcraft on? And it's very time intensive.
Right.
So I want to know that enough people are going to be watching throughout a series that it's going to make it worthwhile for us. Because otherwise, it's like, it's one thing if several thousand people watch it. It's another thing if 500 people watch it. So if it's more like a low performing gameplay on our channel, or an earlier video on our channel, or it's like one of the newer videos on our channel that does decent, then I'd like to kind of gauge based on people's part of the watchers' interest.
I think part of it was going to have to be all right, we're not going to try and replicate something that DM Scotty is doing, because let's face it. I mean, why would we try to compete with the best? I mean, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But
making something is making stuff. So I'm not interested in going through and watching a video of his and then doing it ourselves. I mean, that would be replicating. So I would say, but I think there's plenty of stuff to craft out there. So if we actually wanted to work on it, I know for a while we did different origami dice, large kind of artsy looking dice, and we also had I used the origami for making a gelatinous cube.
Yep, and he's still on the shelf over there. Yeah. With the tied in fishing line to have the body kind of looking, it's floating in the middle of the cube, which I thought was a pretty fun way of doing stuff. So there's some different options that I have, either getting into my mediocre painting skills for my son's 9th birthday party. Just a couple months ago, I made handcrafted Harry Potter wands. I don't know if you guys would have any interest in seeing me go through that process, or us go through that process.
I thought they were pretty cool.
I enjoyed how they came out, and each one of the 20 that I made for the party were vastly different. And it's I don't know, I'm not giving away the secrets now. And if you guys want to see the video on it.
And we also did a discussion on metalworking and the idea of melting some pewter up. And I don't know how far in the series we got with that, but I know I'm interested in casting some metal dice out of pewter. And we'll talk about like where to source that pewter from, rather than just buying it off the internet for too much money, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, to my knowledge, I believe the pewter ones, I don't think the filming process, I don't think went well, so I don't think those ones ever actually made it up online.
That was the day we were outside with the webcam and the computer, and it started to rain, and we're trying to
yeah. So
okay.
So I think that whole process would need to wind up being start over.
Well, I've been storing up the pewter, so
okay. Well, we have some of the remnants of the last time, so it's pretty fun and interesting thing. So
yeah, and the nice thing about pewter is it's a metal you can melt on your stove, and you can melt it in like a steel wok or something like that, and not have a problem with it.
Right.
And there's all these kind of different techniques for it. But the nice thing is, if you don't regularly hurt yourself on the stove, there's a good chance this is a safe method to cast things without causing too much of a problem.
Right. So, Nerdcraft, respond. Do you want to see us do, more of it?
We have some questions in Nerdcraft, question mark, catharsis, and Arcania wants to explain more for people. So that's what they're interested in, is learning. Like what kind of, like painting minis, altering mini, so kit bashing is what it's called. Terrain structures or other things, creating things, metalworking, and discussing different crafting of objects like that.
Mm-hmm.
I have this. I'd like to do a sculptural dragon. I've been gathering pieces from nature recently, so I've got quite a stockpile of things to make it out of. So I'm interested in doing a little sculpted dragon that's not made out of paper mache, because I've seen several dragons that you can make out of paper mache, and they look awesome. But I'm interested in doing kind of like a more art style kind of project, but still having a dragon feel to it.
Well, if you've been following me on Instagram, I've kind of been getting back into the painting world, especially with Bones 3 Kickstarter being delivered to my doorstep. I've now got way too many minis that are just kind of sitting unpainted. That it's not very not very good to just be like, all right, well, I don't want to throw a single color mini onto the table. It just doesn't look right. So I've been kind of getting into it. I don't know how you can see behind me here, but I mean, here's some of my more recent stuff. I got a cool hippo that I did. I believe he's supposed to be some kind of were-hippo dude, and I got this kind of mock worm-like creature that looks like it's got loads of different mouths along its front.
Those are its crawling teeth.
It's crawling teeth.
Or extra mouths on the front.
I went and did them, and all that stuff has kind of been put up on Instagram.
Getting the bug back for painting things.
I mean, I saw a video that, like, I think it had more to do with alcohol than actually getting miniatures painted, but they did this whole thing of, how many minis do you have just sitting in a box, waiting to be painted? And it kind of did it from the miniatures perspective about how insulting it is to sit there without paint. So it's like starting in such and such, paint a mini a week, do this for the miniatures, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. And for a while, I'm like, yeah, I can do this. And, time is not always nice. And it's like, it can, even some of the minis that I do, it's only an hour or two to paint. But finding an hour or two in my typical life is not always easy to do over even the span of a week to guarantee that I can get one thing done. Because it's not always let me just sit down and paint this guy. You give a surface coat, then you got to let it paint. And then you
gotta let it dry.
Yeah, you got to let it dry.
Okay, just checking.
What did I say?
I didn't let it paint.
Oh.
I was like, what kind of thing are you putting on there?
So you prime it, then you got to let it dry. And you give it your base coat, in this case, mostly gray. All right, now you got to let it dry. So you have to have times where you sit and go do something else. Well, the second that you walk away, it's very easy to get sucked into whatever other task you're doing. So unless it's I'm going to paint this series of guys that all have a similar paint scheme, well, now you're getting more than one guy done a week. So it's challenging. It's fun.
I think at least if you had an adventuring party, like a varied adventuring party, and then a few cool monsters, or like, if every other month or something we had a big bad, but you got to paint it. I think that would be really awesome, especially because the larger stuff's going to show up better.
Right.
And we could kind of like work through the paint job of it.
Right.
With videos, and then also kind of do a big reveal when it's actually used in the game.
Right.
All right. So DSDJKK says half my Bones 3 is completely painted. I guess that's the Bones 3 collection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
so how much did you get, DSDJKK? How much of that Kickstarter did you get? I got the core set and a couple other extras. I didn't go crazy, and now I'm kind of sad because there's a handful of stuff that I want from that Kickstarter. Not any of the stuff that I got as rewards.
And a question for you, Ted: would you consider showing us your painted minis? Maybe tell us about them and what they do. Kind of like, I guess, as a show off, like.
Follow me on Instagram.
Cribs D&D style. Check out my mini collection.
So that's actually one of the things that I've been kind of spattering in amongst the Instagram stuff is the minis and stuff that I have done. I think I did the hashtag Ted's painting skills. So you could literally just look for that one. I don't know if there's any other person that's named Ted who's doing something related to painting
and decided to use the hashtag Ted's painting skills. Well, maybe there is now. Like, all right, it's like a group of Teds that all paint minis. Yeah, so Ted's in charge of the Nerdarchy Instagram, so he's got stuff going on over there. I've got a secondary channel, which is what I pursue video games with, so I do different video game stuff over there, and that's just video game play with Nerdarchy. So it's like type in Nerdarchy and video games, you'll probably get some of my videos.
But you're also doing stuff on Twitter now, right?
Yes, a bit on Twitter, but nothing. I'm not really showing off my own interest with that. I'm just trying to get more exposure for the different things that people see on Nerdarchy, or would like to see on Nerdarchy. Kind of like exploring different areas. I'm not big into Twitter or Facebook. I feel like I kind of do a high level amount of lurking on Facebook and not really posting my own stuff or interacting much. I interact a little bit, but it's not as much. And Twitter is kind of interesting and scary at the same time.
I do far more interacting on Facebook on other people's threads. I don't do a lot of let me share what's going on with me. That's just how I live over there.
And 140 characters just makes me want to headbutt something every once in a while. Like, I'll pay some pennies for extra characters. Just give me more than 140.
Is that what the limitation is?
I think it's 140.
Okay.
It feels like far less.
With Instagram, though, I've been kind of trying to not only share some of the stuff that I'm doing, personally and what have you, but literally last night we went to the aquarium as a family, and I'm like, oh, well, here's this Leopleurodon. It's 34 foot long. How would you wind up using this in a game? What kind of CR is it? So whenever I'm out and about and there's something that you could kind of say is gaming related or nerdy or what have you, I'll try to Instagram it and say, okay, how do we do this? So I've done the hashtag, find inspiration where you are, to kind of inspire DMs to say, okay, how can you get inspiration for your game just in everyday life?
You got the core and a few other sets. So
okay,
yeah.
So similar to me. I got the were creatures. I got the fire giants. I got a couple other things. I got the cool angel with the big sword and the big wings, but I didn't get the frog hemoth. I didn't get a couple other things. I'm like, I want these things now. And
absolutely, the frog hemoth.
Yeah. So I need to acquire a frog hemoth. I didn't really think anything of it, and the problem is with Kickstarter is opinions change when it's a year and a half from when you gave the money to when it shows up at your door. I'm like, come on.
You say you didn't want the frog hemoth previously?
Yeah.
I don't know, Ted.
Well, I mean, it's about like, all right, what did you want then, and what do you want now? And
Oh, okay.
you know, back then I was like, well, I'd rather have this thing. Maybe it was whatever. I mean, you know me and were creatures. Like,
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
But the fire giants, I'm like, I've never run a game and I've never used fire giants. Like, why would I need these? I mean, their swords look cool, but meh.
Just little slap demon wings on them, stick horns on their head with clay, and they'll be ready to go for your campaign.
They've got horn helmets. So.
There you go. Just be like, it's not a helmet.
Their heads are just shaped that way.
Yeah, flaming cone heads.
So, all right, I'm gonna say it's that time.
Oh, well, one more thing. We also have a person who we're in contact with that does some 3D printing for us. Scott Frega. I didn't remember to say his name right. And he has printed us some really cool stuff. And actually, this is one of his printings.
I believe so.
Yeah. So that's really neat to be able to get different things. We got like some giant, like really awesome spiders and a few other cool things and some dungeon tiles.
He actually sent me Baba Yaga's hut.
Yeah, I'm interested. I think we should paint that. Yeah, definitely is one of the things.
That is something that's on my agenda. I have a couple squad stuff that I wanted to do before I got into that. As I was just like, well, the whole thing is cool together. It does not look like a complex paint job.
Okay.
So I'd have to be like, well, how can I dirty this up to really give me that Baba Yaga feel?
Can you paint the broad side of a hut? Then you can paint this.
So I mean, it's literally like, here's a little building. It's going to sit on this platform of viney tendrils that are like legs, like spider legs. It looks really cool. Again, I shared that on Instagram as well, so you can go find that from about a week ago. I think at this point in time.
Now on to the giveaway.
So on to the giveaway. So I don't know what time it is, but while I'm talking about the giveaway, if you guys want to sound off, we'll do a roll call. But let us know where you're chiming in from, where you're watching from. Always awesome to hear about, where you awesome guys are watching us from, guys and gals, I should say. I try to use the guys as a generic term. I don't mean to be gender specific. But this month, Gemhammer and Sons Gaming, we've got the Deck of Wonder. Contains 100 random spell effect cards, perfect for simulating wild magic, rods of randomized magic, or has its own unique magical artifact. And the Deck of Illusion, 34 cards of illusionary creatures for use with any D20 system, as well as donated by none other than staff writer and assistant website editor Doug, the Eye Tyrant mini. And dear Lord, it's got a $50 price tag on the back. So thank you, Doug. Thank you, Gemhammer and Sons. Gemhammer and Sons is going to be having a new Kickstarter, coming up, I believe, later this month. So be on the lookout for that. I believe they're doing decks of animals, and they're going to have new beasts and that kind of stuff. So no drum roll needed. The random number generator spat out Joshua Rang. So thank you for being a patron, Josh. We're going to contact you. We're going to get this stuff, sent to you. And, we just, to you and to all our other, patron supporters, I greatly appreciate you doing that. Is, only through your generous contributions that we're able to do the things that we do.
And a note about the Patreon giveaway. That you don't have to do anything for if you're a Patreon supporter. You can also find the
contest and giveaway section.
In the contest and giveaway section, you can find the mail-in paper that you just have to mail to the P.O. box listed below, fill in the information, and then send it away to us. And you'll also be entered in it.
Yes.
And also, our contests have nothing to do with YouTube. It's not sponsored or anything and such like that. Yada, 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 law stuff. Yeah, etc.
Hashtag Nate's Nerdarchy lawyer.
I LARPing as a barrister.
So that's that. Do we have roll call?
I'm sure we do. I have written myself a note. Someone in the comments. I wrote myself a note about the Microscope RPG. I did not check it out. A lot of stuff has happened since then, and I completely forgot about it. But since I made myself a note, it's got a better chance of actually happening. So I'll check it out and I'll talk about it in a future live chat.
You'll have to bear with Nate. He has just produced more offspring, so he has a.
Well, and my new child has been born.
Yes.
That's my shirt. I got that recently.
Super Daddy-o!
Super Daddy-o! Yeah, so Timothy David was born, and he is really healthy and happy, and Mama's doing great. So
awesome to hear.
Overall, but he is like 4 days old. So been a little bit busy lately. So I'm going to do the roll call. So we have Arcania in the basement on Long Island, Steve Waterman, Illinois, checking in from a humidified Georgia, DSDJKK. Yeah, I was in North Carolina where I could stare at, like several summers ago, I could stare at the sun and not be bothered by it because there was so much water molecules in between me and the sun. So we have Bob Smith from Ohio, Sandman 29331 from Ontario, C.A. Hollenbach from Central Pennsylvania, enjoying viewing from the armpit of California, that's S. Daniel, Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, Scratch Paper Games. We have Hamburg, Germany. It's not even like a crazy Canada name. I couldn't get it out. HDD, Ashwood, Maryland. We have Hexalus. Wales, UK. We have Truemate. Edmonton, Alberta. We have Curtis Moran. Glasgow, Scotland. We have William P. Dines.
We don't hear Scotland too often.
No, not very often.
Awesome, man.
And we have Patrick from Sweden. Sorry, I'm not going to start with that last name. It doesn't look too difficult, but you know.
Nate's too intelligent to mess something up. He just passes. We'll just butcher your name.
That's strategy. That's not intelligence. To just pass on a name you're not going to be able to pronounce. Yes, we are taking old school with mail-ins. It's part of the way that we don't get in trouble with anybody. Fresno, California, we have Dominic. Detroit, we have @Seraph. And thank you for the congratulations, everybody. And Crescent City, California, we have Catharsis. And let's see. And that is it. And thank you for all the congratulations.
So I love hearing about where everybody is. Not to ever put any kind of lack of emphasis on the people who are tuning in from the States, but there's like extra joy when I hear about where people are joining us from internationally. I love seeing that we've reached that far. So seeing like we see Sweden all the time, we see Denmark all the time. Scotland was something new. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So
that we also have a Toronto, John McGuire.
So awesome. So regardless of where you're hanging out, it is awesome that you've decided to take this time and hang out with Nerdarchy. You guys are awesome.
So Sandman 29331, I'm running my first module, Horde of the Dragon Queen. Do you have any tips on running a module? Don't.
I could be like, all right,
That's a running gag at Nerdarchy. We don't play the modules necessarily. We might strip stuff out of them that we're going to enjoy for our own use. Like I always think about the Storm King's Thunder. I said that right? Yeah, Storm King's Thunder. There's the Goblin Catapult thing. It's hilarious. I want to use it. I haven't had a chance, but if I have to shoehorn it into an encounter, I will do it. But we don't usually just run the adventures because for us it's a lot of work to read it, get familiar with it, and then run it. So if you are going to run it, I would say have good contingency plans, or having your mindset that your players might go off the track of the adventure,
and how you're going to mitigate when that happens. I look at modules, and they're a good thing for those people who are okay with this is a story, this is how it goes, and you keep people on the track of this is what they're doing, and you find ways that if they start to detour, to push them back in, and that's fine. If you don't like designing material, if you don't like coming up with adventures, they're great, they're fine. Somebody has already done all the work for you. You just have to read it and be prepared to run it. With me, the amount of time it would take me to read and be able to play a single session of a prepared module is far more campaign prep than I normally do for any session.
For like an entire year of your session prep.
I've made jokes about this numerous times. There's been times where I've run off of a sentence or three. I think I've literally run a session with 1 or 2 words written down. That's just, I do far more improv. Sometimes that's not good because I make some bad decisions on the fly, and then how do I correct or mitigate? Other times, like, players really get into what's going on. They really love the style that I present. And if you're able to do that and you enjoy doing it and your players enjoy doing it, by all means, go for it. But that's not my style. So I really can't give you any more feedback than be familiar with your material that you're going to run in its prepared module. Be prepared for when the players go off book, as it's called. And, but most importantly, have fun. Don't think of this as rock solid. This is what you have to do to the fun of everyone else. So if players aren't enjoying it and you're just, well, this is what's going on, find the fun. Find a way to make everyone enjoy it, even if it means improving or, hey guys, give me 5 minutes to familiarize myself and then we'll get back in.
So Ted kind of took over the segment right there, but I'm going to dial it back all the way and say, if you're going to run a module, it was totally tongue-in-cheek joke when I said don't run a module. I think they're great resources, but at the same time, I have not run one all the way through, and I would like to do that for Nerdarchy sometime, just to get, say, like, we've accomplished a module, one of the new ones, 5th edition, yay for us, and, like, have the experience of it. Because then it can, it's better. I think it's a good asset to the community because we can better comment on things dealing with it and are kind of like more in the know about it. But right now it's a lot to read all that excess. So what I would say would be, if you're going to commit to running it, make sure that your group also would like to commit to running it, or be ready to, when they go off the adventure path, you want them to understand that this adventure is going to go on. So what happens is you might not be able to do all the material, but know certain spots where you can kind of have them understand that something is going awry, like kind of make it more of like a time-sensitive issue. So if they choose to go off and be like, well, we can do that adventure later because it's the video game, right? It's just going to sit there waiting for us. When it's not, like if their experience is video games, they might be under the impression that, well, this is a module, so whenever we come back to it, it's when we can start back up with it. And if you don't want to have them going off on these long tangents every time to different places, then that's something you can create, like that time-sensitive issue. So maybe they do the first adventure and then they get distracted with all the stuff that they want to do as their characters. Maybe you can rein them back in by having a situation in which that second adventure that was supposed to happen, well, maybe they start at a disadvantage if it's something like someone got kidnapped. Maybe it's very hard to find the person, or the bad guys succeed in a situation. So there's instances where you can kind of say, well, this is the way the module is supposed to happen. I've given you guys a negative now. Don't tell them that. But it's harder, and NPCs can inform them, well, we told you a week ago that this was the situation, and you decided that you wanted your plate mail to get finished first. And these different situations in which it kind of drives them to the idea, okay, this is something that needs to get taken care of. Let's move towards the solution for this region, or like basically the conclusion of this adventure. That's a metagame way of thinking, but in game they're considering that this is a danger to the region. We should take care of it as stalwart adventurers, and but still I don't like the idea of always shoving them back onto the path right away. So I would say let them meander, but there's consequences for meandering.
So the beginning part of that is what I heard is Nate wants to run Tales of Yawning Portal for us. So,
or that, whatever, the Annihilation thing with the vomiting dinosaur stuff. That was pretty cool sounding.
The Tome of Annihilation?
Yeah, that sounds really good. I think I saw a lich. So, I mean, I'm in pretty much.
Well, I am,
That is if Dave doesn't give away the book as soon as we get it. When are we getting that? Did we order it or yet? Or?
I believe the ones that we ordered for ourselves. I mean, they'll be here when they're here. I don't think it's been out yet.
Okay, I was just curious. Sometimes we get stuff ahead of time.
Not usually this far.
I don't know when it's due out. I know I want it, but I don't know when it's due out. So I'm interested in running that because I want to have the experience of having gone through it.
I actually want to, I guess the inner masochist wants to see how I do in the what's the name of the module in the tells you going portal.
This on the Citadel was something that interested me.
Okay.
Was there Against the Giants on the Citadel? The Tamayaki. And that's kind of, I thought it was kind of Aztec-y kind of feeling. I don't know what it's called.
Okay. No, it's the one with the Sphere of Annihilation that's supposed to.
Tomb Horrors.
Yeah, that's it.
Tomb Horrors.
Sorry,
That's okay. Yeah, it's playing. That's fine.
I've heard so much about Tomb of Horrors. I'm like, you know what? Let's see how it winds up going. Like, I know 5th edition has got a lot of kid gloves in a number of situations, and I've been told that the kid gloves are pulled for some of those adventures. So I want to see how it goes.
That sounds cool. I like the idea of just running people through it, and just like there's just the body pile up of the different people at different spots. Yeah, I'd like to see that. They'd be like, here's where Gundar, the half-orc, fell. Here's the hallway that's mysteriously empty. It's this black space here.
Yeah, dwarf, go check it out.
You know, something scary is there when it's a blank hallway and the rest of them are filled with bodies and skeletons. What do we? I think this is asking us. What do you think of multiclassing?
It depends upon the class. We've talked about it in a number of our different character build videos where multiclassing becomes an option. There are certain classes that multiclassing away from just doesn't seem like a very smart choice. Paladin, Barbarian, you get some very big bonuses for sticking through it. Whereas other classes, it's like, well, I can get the good stuff that I need, in the first handful of levels. So it really depends. But on the other side, are you looking to do something mechanically? Or are you looking to build something that's different? I've made just as many multi-class characters as I have single-class characters. And it's been done because I was trying to build specific sets of things. I had a Sorcerer Warlock for a while. And having access to far more mid-level spells was useful for him. So he was good with all of that. And I found that, because of this, that, and the other thing, I really didn't want to go further, but crazy situations happen. So at the end of that campaign, I was, high-level sorcerer, low-level warlock, first-level wizard, 4th-level barbarian, and that had nothing to do with character choice. That was something that happened to him in game. He got he wound up sharing the soul of a half-orc, and I just like, you just add 4 levels of barbarian to your character. Like, what? And I was still capped at 20, so it's not like I was.
Well, that was also a particular game quirk to it.
Yes. I made a ranger rogue, so he wound up being 5 levels of ranger for the second attack per round, as well as all the other cool ranger stuff, the added damage from hunter and what have you, as well as 15 levels of rogue. Really could pack out the sneak attack damage by being an assassin. So.
Yeah, and my major character that I played in 5th, I did the nature cleric, and I kind of wanted to have more of a druid feel without actually taking druid levels. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I got that. And, I guess around 7th or 8th level, I had this itch to take ranger levels. And
was it after you got the bow?
Yes, actually. It was after I got this really awesome bow that I could also fight with. So it was like a long sword worth of damage and fighting. And it was also a really nice bow. So overall, I mean, it was like soup. That's like epitome of an elven weapon as far as I'm concerned. Long sword attacks as well as this cool bow thing. So I was like, this would be really cool to take some more fightery levels. So I'm not just like plunking away with it. But it wouldn't have added much to it now that I think about it, except for like after I got to a certain level and I got Hunter or something like that. But probably to be more rangery, I would have gone Beastmaster.
Right.
But then again, we were talking about in our Beastmaster thing, there's other ways of getting more animal friends.
Right.
So and it went away after I started getting 5th level spells. When I got 5th level spells, I'm like, whew, man, I'm glad I didn't multi-class because now I can do ridiculous stuff. And now it's like every level, ever since I was 9th, every level I've gone, it hasn't really been a question. But I mean, I really value. I was like, oh, should I take ranger levels? And like, no, not really, because if it's just going to put me an extra level away from having 8th level spells, 7th level spells, 8th level spells, 9th level spells, and some of those are really game changing. Like I shut down one of Ted's encounters, which was probably going to kill us.
As it was, the encounter dropped 2 people before the battle was over, and
one of them died. I had to resurrect them.
And you cast 1 spell and took half the players on the field.
Yeah, there was like 7 elementals or whatever, and I got rid of a lot of over half of them with Divine Word. Took my high level spells a lot, but it also made it so that we could actually live through the encounter. That was a saving throw, so it could have gone bonkers terrible for me and just wasted my 7th level spell and done nothing. Or it could have really, I mean, it tipped the battle so that we could actually win it rather than just get trounced or captured by an Archdus. I wasn't interested in having that happen. So that was really a good example of why I should not have ever multi-class, and I'm glad I didn't, because I needed that spell just right then.
Part of my cleric, don't tell this to Dave, but like part of me is like, well, if only I had a 13 charisma, I could try to get some kind of warlock pact just to get Eyes of the Runekeeper. I want to get that invocation so that I can read all writing, and that's something that really fits with my character. But the only way to get that is by being a warlock, and he really doesn't want to be a warlock. But I think if a situation were to present to him, that might be just tempting enough to be like, all right, yeah, this guy who spends all his time reading books and eating sweets when we're not off adventuring, and even times when we are, it's like, oh man, this is really cool, and very thematic for the character.
Well, how far away from you are a 13 charisma?
I have 12.
There's plenty of feats that give you +1 charisma.
I can take actor. So it's very amusing, and I've danced around the idea a number of times of like, yeah, it would have to happen in game, and it would have to be a situation where it's like, all right, is this really something that he wants to make a pact with, or is this just a Ted wants a mechanical thing? So he's probably just going to stick with a cleric, and I'm not going to get that invocation. But it's something that the temptation is strong.
Maybe he can just get a boon as that specific invocation. Or, I mean, it's Dave's game, but maybe there's a chance you can make a magic item that does it.
Yeah, that's probably not going to.
Yeah, I can see why you don't want to tell him, because then he might put it in the game, and if you decide not to do it, it's kind of like, hey, I put this in the game for you. You just turn it down. What the heck?
Right.
Or it might seem forced if you're both deciding. Yeah, I understand that.
Right.
So
it's also not telling Dave, because it's a situation of like, if he does, then I'm even more tempted, because it's like, oh, now he's really actually offering me this power. I want the power.
I want to accept his power. All right, so they want our opinions on the meat grinder mode that they introduced on the Stream of Annihilation. He says it was kind of disappointed that all it was a higher DC for death saves. Is that all it was?
I did not
get the write-up on what actually was the alteration.
I did not actually watch the Stream of Annihilation, sadly. See that earlier statement about finding time to paint. I can only be tuned into so much of this niche and what have you, and sadly that was not it.
So I would say more. It's most likely it's twofold. Okay, so the death saves are a big deal that you actually get a 50-50 chance to stabilize. You just got to make it 3 times. So you have 5 chances if you think about it that way, because on the 5th chance you're either dead or stabilized.
Right.
So you have up to 5 chances, 50-50. That's pretty decent chance that you're going to get that you're gonna make it. I mean, it's better than just like bleeding out in 10 rounds and you're dead, or like being negative whatever and almost dead. So if you decrease the chance of that happening, of actually stabilizing, that's a big increase as long as you're knocking people down. So I would say the meat grinder aspect of something in that case is you're most likely going to die if you get knocked down, especially if the things still damage you. So if you get taken out by a creature and then the evoker mage that's on the enemy side then fireballs you all, well, you're really, really close to dying.
You just taken 2 failed death saves.
And that guy is just doing his thing. He wasn't spitefully taking you out. He might have thought, well, this will knock them down. And you get knocked down by his minion. And then he's like, all right, well, the rest of them are still getting hit. Doesn't change my action. Right. I'm still fireballing the party. So that's really nasty, because then you have not a 50-50 chance with one. You're going to have less. So you might die. Just like, boom, 1 roll, you're dead.
Yeah, you have to make better than a 50% or 50% chance 3 times in a row, or you're out. 1 fail is done.
And you have things like, what if there's dangerous terrain that actually damages you? Like you're in a shallow pool of acid. Guess what? You're not going to want to lay in a shallow pool of acid, especially when you're bleeding to death. It doesn't improve your condition. So that's like a situation. If there's consistent damage, even if it's 1 round, you're going to die from that kind of stuff real quick.
So when you drop your enemy party members, you have to thunder wave them into another damaging source. That's the way to do it.
All right. So C8, huh? I was reading comments. You could have said, purple is black, and I would be like, okay, let's just continue.
No, so you drop your enemy, and then you thunder wave them into another damaging source.
Oh yeah, right up against the wall, or like do the monk, kick them while they're falling down. Not even while they're down, while they're trying to fall down. Be like, boom, and kick them against something.
So for those of you who have been following the D&D Beyond stuff, Dave and I recorded a video based on the new release for that stuff. So that'll go up sometime next week, probably earlier, I would imagine. I'm also going to imagine, since today is the 1st, that if all goes according to plan, Monday we should also be getting our next Unearthed Arcana. So kind of looking forward to see what they're going to do there.
Yeah, I do. I'm looking forward to that as well. So I got a question from C.A. Hollenbach. Wondering what you would do about a DM that keeps going AWOL every time he tries to schedule a game that falls apart. So there could be several things to this. First off, ask the question, are you doing a session 0 and getting player buy-in? So if the DM has an idea of what they want to run, and it's what they want to run, and are you showing up to play it? Well, some people might be disenchanted with that. They might make a character, be excited about a character, but not have really anything tying that character to the plot. So if you have an issue with the DM just kind of not showing up because he loses interest, well, that's kind of on them. But it could be he's losing interest because he sees everyone else has also kind of lost interest. So I'd say if you gather everybody together, do a session 0, get all the characters' background, bind them together in some cause or desire.
Well, this seems to me like,
and I'm still talking.
So to me, this seems more like he just doesn't actually show up to the game.
Yeah, well, there's reasons for not showing up to the game. I mean, I'm just assuming it's because he's decided that something else is more interesting than playing the game. And if the game is everyone's lost interest in it every couple sessions, like I'd say 3 sessions, 3 to 6 sessions, it depending on how often you play. If you play every week, that might just be a situation where you just need to play every other week. Gives everybody time to do things on the off weeks so that they're not just be like, well, every Saturday's locked in, so sorry, mom, dad, whatever, whoever I'm attached to at the moment, can't go to your party. Got a D&D game, you know, like, or there's stuff that comes up. So like, you know, Dave's not here right now. And he's gone to Origins. So that was another week where he wasn't available. So if you just keep a few days open, I mean, a few weeks open in which you're not playing D&D with a group, that gives everybody kind of like a release valve on like being able to do other activities that they may desire to do on those days. And you can say like focus on the few days a month that you do play, everyone being locked into that time and playing. And like I said, you know, if you find something more interesting, it's going to be hard to continue to be interested in a game when there's other stuff to be done. And if you schedule too much or the game becomes disinteresting, even as it's from the GM's perspective, you know, there's a lot of things that go into it. So, I mean, without knowing the situation, without knowing the person and talking with them, I've got no idea. I can just give you examples of reasons why games fall apart.
So I do apologize for cutting you off. I wasn't certain whether you were seeing it from the same standpoint as I was. There's nothing you can really do if a DM wants to schedule a game and then isn't available to play for whatever reason. You always have the ability to talk to them and say, hey, man, what's going on? Let's have a one-on-one here. Is it a disinterest in the game, or is it real life that's kind of getting in the way? Now, if it's real life that's getting in the way, you try to find ways around that. If it's disinterest in the game, figure out what's causing that and correct it. If no one else at the table is willing to DM, and only this guy is, but he's not showing up regularly, all right, well, the days he's not making it, do a board game night, do a hangout, you know, do other things that you guys are going
have
to enjoy.
Have another D&D game.
Well, I'm saying if there's no one else willing to
DM.
You know, if you've got someone else who's willing to step up and run one shots or whatever have you when he's not there, by all means, you guys might wind up enjoying that more. And he realizes, oh, well, they're still having fun without me. Oh, I guess maybe I should do more or whatever have you. But I mean, if no one is willing to DM, you know, play board games, do something else that's fun, that you are all going to enjoy, and you can keep that ritual habit of I'm going to get together with my friends on a regular basis, so that the camaraderie continues to build, the relationships continue to build, and you get to hang out and have fun. I mean, whatever it is that you do it.
Yeah, and if it's a case of well, he says he's not interested in a fight or anything, I was like, well, you know, you don't have to fight with him as long as you're not confrontational about it. Be like, hey, if you got other stuff going on, just let us know, and we'll make other plans. Because if it's like 11th hour before the game, it's going to start in an hour, and he calls you up and says, hey, I'm not coming. Enjoy, you know, whatever you're going to do. Or if it's like you're waiting for him to show up, he's late, and then he says, hey, I'm not coming. So there's situations in which that's issues. That's going to mess up planning. But like I would say, you know, plan for another GM, plan for another event that you guys can all hang out and do. So like when someone can't make it, it's not really stressful. You just run with whatever plan B is that everyone's decided is also a cool option. And I would say if you've got like a group of 4 or 5 people, well, then just run with one less person and just run a different game. So you could have alternate games for this person. And then that way they know, you know, one way or the other, that if they show up, then, you know, it's possible to play their game. And if they're not going to show up because of some situation, it might be personal reasons, might be anxiety. I know as like, as a person that deals with anxiety, I don't like showing up to places sometimes, and I just make up an excuse to not show up. It has no relevancy on how much I want to go there. I just want to not be there more than I want to show up. And my not wanting to be someplace is usually very high. So that could be a total thing that he's not interested in talking about, and he or she will just make up another excuse for that situation. So you might not even get a real answer out of the person. So I would just say, you know, you can't plan for other people in a sense, especially when they're going to be on and off and not give if they don't give you notice. So I would say instead, you know, plan in essence for them not to be there, and then you'll be able to play their game when they are.
So I believe that's you know, rounding out the hour.
Yes, it is.
And you know, sadly, you know, while I'm not gaming tonight, there are things that are scheduled and need to be done. So I'll reach out to you guys again. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. The link to the GoFundMe is down below. If you hung out with us on the live chat yesterday, there was some silly stuff that was talked about. So we'll see whether or not any of that can actually come about. Dave and Nate still don't know anything about it. So
yeah, I was like,
trip out to California is later this month. We're really excited about what this is going to mean for Nerdarchy. So if you want to help us get out to California, do the GM tips with Satine Phoenix.
Yeah, Ted and Dave are going to be on Geek and Sundry with Satine Phoenix.
So please, if you're able to support, please do. If you already have, or if you're unable to, please just share it out there and let everybody know what's going on. This is a really, really great opportunity. You guys are awesome. We already know that, but there's so many other awesome people out there who have no idea what Nerdarchy is yet. So we want to just bring that to them. Really. So with that, guys, thank you for everything you do. Links are down below for everything. So until next time, stay nerdy.